Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in American history, they have surpassed $31 trillion. Dollars. That $31 trillion is more than the economy of China, Japan, Germany, and the UK combined. I don't see how this could possibly happen with a land full of high IQ people that think they just know it all. How can this happen in the land of the sleaze and the home of the slave? All these high IQ people, and look at what happened, ladies and gentlemen. So the US national debt tops $31 trillion for the first time in American history. Mm, mm, mm. America's borrowing binge has long been viewed as sustainable because of historically low interest rates. But as the rates rise, the nation's fiscal woes are getting worse. So, they're still denying a recession and all of that. I mean, look who is telling us this. It's to be expected. Americans' gross national debt exceed $31 trillion for the first time on Tuesday, a grim financial milestone that arrived just as the nation's long term fiscal picture has darkened amid rising interest rates. The breach of the threshold, which was revealed in the Treasury Department reports, come as, at an inopportune moment. Hmm. As historically low interest rates are being replaced with higher borrowing costs as the Federal Reserve tried to combat rapid inflation. And they're still not admitting that we're in a recession. Now they're trying to tell us that the recession will try to, will be here in 2023. But I thought y'all said when two quarters of the GDP being down, that's a recession. But, now, we can just pencil in and pencil out what a recession is now. I guess it's like anything else, just like the laws. They pencil in the laws, and then when the laws are no longer convenient, they pencil it out. I guess it's just like everything else. So while record levels of government borrowing and fighting the pandemic and finance tax cuts, which were seen by some policymakers as affordable, those higher rates are making American debts more costly over time. So many of the concerns we have about our growing debt path are starting to show themselves as we both grow our debt and grow our rate of interest, said Michael A. Peterson, a chief executive officer at the Peter G. Peterson Foundation, which promotes deficit reduction. Too many people were complicit about our debt path, in part because rates were so low. Well, there's only one people that's responsible for this because we don't all have access to that kind of money. That y'all don't want us in high places. So there's only one group we see up at the top. So, hey, there you go. The new figures come at a volatile economic moment with investors veering between fears of a global recession and optimism that one may be avoided. On Tuesday, markets rallied close to 3%, extending gains from Monday and putting Wall Street on a more positive path after a brutal September. And y'all, why don't you just admit y'all are manipulating those numbers on Wall Street? Because the whole pattern of the entire thing doesn't make sense. You'll go through weeks and weeks of bad news, and then all out of nowhere, everything just miraculously jumps back up. Y'all are manipulating that market. It's all fake, just like everything else. It's fake. So, ladies and gentlemen, on Tuesday, let me skip over that. I read that. The rally stemmed in part from a government report that shows signs of some slowing in the labor market. Investors took that as a signal that the Fed's interest rate increases, which have raised borrowing costs for companies, may soon slow down. Yes, and the housing market, ladies and gentlemen, is a monstrosity. And the way I see it, that could have easily have been controlled, but they let people just go completely overboard with housing prices and rent and everything. And now it is going to be the biggest thing to drag everything down. Higher rates could add an additional $1 trillion to the federal government spends on interest payments this decade, according to Peterson Foundation estimates. This is on top of a record $8.1 trillion in debt costs at the Congressional Budget Office projected in May. Expenditures on interest could exceed what the United States spends on national defense by 2029 if interest rates on public debt rise to be just 1% point higher than what the CBO estimated over the next few years. Mm-mm-mm. The Feds, which slashed rates to a near zero during the pandemic, has begun raising them and trying to tame the most rapid inflation in 40 years. Rates are now set to range between 3 and 3.25%, and the central bank's most recent projection saw them climbing to 4.6% by the end of next year, up from 3.8% in an earlier forecast. Federal debt is not like a 30-year mortgage that is paid off at a fixed rate. The government is constantly issuing new debt, which effectively means it's borrowing. Costs rise and fall along with interest rates. Mm-mm-mm. So, y'all, this looks horrible. This looks horrible. And y'all really focus heavily on looks and the way things look. Well, this looks horrible. And this goes back to what I was telling y'all. As we move on, you're going to see how badly ran and mismanaged America really truly is. And this really should show you that right now when you look at the deficit. Does this look like somebody knows what they're doing? It sounds like y'all been getting up for the last 500 years winging it, and it's finally catching up to you. That's what it looks like to me. But y'all, please tell me what you think in the comment section. And Joe Biden is giving even more military aid to Ukraine. And I got that coming up in another video. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family. Oh, and I don't care what your debt is, you still owe us reparations.